Welcome everyone. Today is the day that I finally make the ND filter video that I've been speaking about for quite some time now. Living in Vancouver, the weather has just been absolutely awful as of recent, but today's the day. I have the freewell filter that I'm about to put on shortly here. We're going to do some comparisons, walking back and forth on this dock here, seeing which one we prefer between freewell and also telesin. Both companies have supplied me with filters to test today, and I can't wait to get into that now. Okay, starting off, I'm going to shoot in automatic, walking from there to here, and we're going to see how it looks. If it looks unnatural, just using automatic settings without the filter, and I'm going to put on the freewell filter and also the telesin after to see if this helps while using manual settings. Okay, walking forward, we have no filter on the camera now. We're in automatic settings. Shutter speed is probably ultra high right now. It's probably not going to look all that realistic. Let's throw on the freewell filter. Now I'm in 4K 30 and I'm using just manual settings with the 60 shutter speed. How does this look in comparison? Does it look any different? Is it more natural? Let me know. Let's try the telesin one now. Now have the telesin ND8 filter on. How does this look in comparison? I unfortunately had to raise the ISO a little bit. Looking at the weather here, you can probably understand why. It's really hard to use manual settings right now based on the fact that there's sun peering in and out of the clouds, but this is how it looks with manual settings and no shutter speed that's anything but 2x the frame rate. In order to test these filters from telesin and also freewell that they've graciously given me, I have the camera set to automatic settings, so when I put on the filter it will adjust in order to show what sort of color changes we potentially have. Look especially into the corners for possible vignetting. I have a color chart here as well. Hopefully that helps give you a bit better of an idea of how everything looks. I'm in normal mode right now. So starting off, we're going to start off with a 64 ND filter, and freewell actually has a 64 ND filter, whereas telesin does not. The highest that they offer in their kit is only 32. So let's place this freewell filter on right now and see how this looks. Was there any sort of shifts at all in color? Okay, let's take that off. Now we're going to grab their 32 filter, put that on right now. This is their 32 filter. Now we're going to try the telesin one. Let me get that out. Trying not to drop any of these into the dock that I'm on right now. Okay. Oh, I kept trying to be very careful with this. See, we got the telesin one here. This is their ND32. How does that look in comparison? Are there any sort of white balance shifts or any sort of vignetting in the corner at this setting? Sorry, at this ND filter. Okay, I'm going to take that off and put on the freewell 16. Oh, I really have to be careful here. Okay, this is the freewell 16 ND filter. How does that look? Okay, now the freewell 8 ND filter is going on. Now I have here the telesin 8 filter. Put that on now. How does that compare? Any sort of color shifts between either of the ND filters? There's actually people swimming out there, and that is crazy because it is freezing out right now. Looking at the telesin kit of 4 different ND filters, they have that trade-off of that 64 ND in place of this CPL filter. And this could be a really great time to use this CPL filter. So I'm going to throw that on now, and we're going to see what it looks like with this CPL filter on. So now that is with the telesin CPL filter on, let's take that off. Do you notice a difference at all when rotating between the two? Now, actually, how as well does the sky change when using this? Drag it over top so you can see a little better. Going back and forth. One thing you should know about using CPL filters is they do act as a bit of an ND filter. I'm going to turn off the auto settings now to give you a better idea of what it would look like as an ND. Currently, this shot is at 1.3 EV, so I'm pretty overexposed. Let's put this on here now and see. Now, I can't see exactly what the exposure is. Oh, it says it's +1 EV, so it drops by 0.3 down to even 0.7. So it was a pretty substantial drop in overall exposure. I'll show you now on this side. Okay, I need to get out of here because I'm really afraid I'm going to drop one of these ND filters down the slot here. I have the freewell ND8 filter on now. Let's put on the telesin one. Now I have no ND filter on currently, and it's at around 1/1000 shutter speed. How does this look in comparison? Do you sort of see the difference between the two? Now here's a shot without any sort of ND filter. I'm going to switch off the auto setting, turn on manual with the ND filter now. Now here's one of the problems with ND filters. Putting it on, it now puts me at a spot where it's a little bit overexposed actually compared to before. Now with the variable ND filter, you don't run into that same issue, but with these fixed ND filters, that can certainly be the case. Now, when I tried to lower the ISO, it made the scene too dark, and if I were to try and raise it, of course, it'd be way too overexposed. But anyways, I'm on this freewell ND8 filter now. Let's put on the telesin. All right, it's far too noisy here. Let's go to another spot. Now that I have the ND filter on, this is the ND8 from freewell. How stable is it? Really the major issue with this is that most mirrorless cameras have in-body stabilization these days. So you're not having to rely on electronic stabilization like you rely on it in these action cameras. Because of that, it really benefits from a much higher shutter speed. And unfortunately, when we're using ND filters, we're using them to do the exact opposite. So it really sort of butts heads with the overall outcome that you're looking for. Now let's take this off and let's see, walking at the exact same speed and pace, what it looks like in auto setting now. Okay, we have the ND filter in my pocket here. Auto setting is on. It's around like 1/800 shutter speed. Crazy high. If I were shooting at this high on my mirrorless camera, I just would never do it. But on an action camera, it really makes a lot of sense, which makes it really hard for me to do this review without making a good portion of this video mentioning that you could really run into some issues here. Okay, now we've changed the field of view to an ultra wide setting. Maybe that will potentially help with some of the jitters, you never know. So let's switch from this auto setting now over into manual settings with this ultra wide field of view. Ultra wide is on, we have the ND filter on. Now, One thing I should also mention is this is probably the first action camera ever, well it is the first action camera ever, where you can actually control the aperture on it. So this allows you to go to f4 in aperture, and because of that, it actually works sort of like an ND filter in a sense, allowing you to have a lot more range than you otherwise would have. Now, let me show you exactly what it would look like if I switch this exact shot in this manual setting to f4. I haven't adjusted any settings other than switching it over to f4, and you can just see how much that darkened the frame. Well, I think this is the part of the video where I tell you whether or not you should buy it or not. And this really depends. It depends on so many different things. First off, if you're new to using action cameras, I would really wait until you figure out whether or not you need it or not, and you're positive you need it before you buy an ND filter. Because of this camera having the range between f4 to f2 gives you much more flexibility with this specific camera, especially compared to something like the Ace Pro 2 that I actually have right beside it, being stuck at f2.6 only. It does give you a lot more room to shoot without ND filters throughout the day, and also keeping your shutter speed low because of it. Where I see ND filters really being useful are for applications like this, where you're planning it down on a tripod and you want natural motion blur, or you are shooting content from, say, a bicycle where you have it attached to handlebars or potentially a helmet. But I think for a lot of people, if you're wanting to shoot vlog content and you want to buy an ND filter for that, I think you're probably going to be a little disappointed by how jittery the footage ends up becoming with that electronic stabilization within the Action 6. I think that there's quite a few use cases this will work for, and there's quite a few that it's probably not needed for, and you should spend your money elsewhere. Now, going back to the ND filters that I spoke about today, the telesin kit with the ND8 to 32 with the CPL filter, and then the Osmo Action 6 everyday filter kit from Freewell. And they have a wonderful case that comes with this, along with a really nice microfiber cloth. That's a poop bag. They never gave a poop bag, unfortunately. And this is the microfiber cloth that the Freewell came with. By far, one of the best that I've ever received. So this is really great to have, because not many companies provide actual decent microfiber cloths. Looking at the two sets, the Freewell wins without a doubt for overall packaging. I love this. Recently, because their packaging is so great, in order to try and sneak in some tests with that little brief bits of sunshine that we've had, I've actually thrown a few of the telesin ones in here and just kind of left the 64 and the 32s at home in order to make room for it, because I mean, you can just look around, there's not really bright blue skies out here, unfortunately. As always, I have affiliate links in the description for both companies' products. I would really appreciate if you buy through my links. I hope you like this honest review of the products, and I hope these two companies don't hate me for saying this, but I have to give a full disclosure to most of you out there, because the action camera community is often filled with a lot of amateur videographers and photographers, and you really should know what you're getting yourself into. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Take care, and please subscribe. Bye-bye.